According to our friends at FanDuel, sponsor here at the Locked On Network, Michigan's now favored to make the playoff. Now, I am not sitting here. Some people think I don't like Michigan. And you know what? You may form whatever opinion you would like. I think whatever I think about your respective team, I hate to inform you. I regret to inform you, I'll say, that I don't have a personal agenda or animus towards your program. I just happen to believe certain things about it as it pertains to this season. Michigan being favored to make the playoff is pretty crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Spencer, you don't think they're going to be any good? No, if I had to pick their record right now, I'd say 9-3. I do, however, feel like 8-4 is more likely than 10-2. Need I remind you that on their schedule, week 2 is a home game against Texas. At least they get a tune-up against Fresno State. I did that little chuckle thingamajig, call it whatever you like, because though Michigan is a massive favorite in that game and they are going to win, is it an FCS game? Not exactly. Fresno State's going to come out and they're going to make a swing. They got an experienced quarterback and they've got a veteran head coach and they're going to give you the best fight that they can. And you're going to be working through a new quarterback situation. And then Texas comes to town week 2. I haven't made many picks on this show that I feel confident about. I like Texas in that game. They also host USC. A lot of people are down on USC. I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those people. That's their Big Ten opener. Their Big Ten opener is USC. I will commend Michigan here because I've ripped on them correctly many a times before for canceling the home and home with UCLA and having a weak non-conferences they've gone to the playoff in the last several years. This year they've got Texas at home. Round of applause. This is what I'm talking about. That's the sort of stuff that I'm all about in college football. So they've got Texas at home. They've got USC at home. They have to go at Washington. Look, Michigan's a sizable favorite in that game. The line has come down because I think Vegas is realizing, Washington won't suck. Michigan's better because they haven't lost as much. They've kept more of their team intact, but they still lost a lot to the NFL. They have to avoid an upset at Illinois. It's probably fine. It's called an upset for a reason, though. Michigan State at home. That's not going to be a problem. Oregon, that is also a home game. Then at Indiana, host Northwestern, and then they go at Ohio State. I look, the reason that I struggle to get behind Michigan being worthy of favorite status when it comes to making the playoff is I look at the schedule and I am seeing bare minimum 2 losses. And you could be a good team. You could be a top 15, 20 team in college football, and this schedule is 2 losses minimum. At Ohio State, that is a loss. That is a loss. Texas and Oregon at home. If Michigan goes 2-0, I'm going to have to come on here and apologize to Michigan fans and eat a lot of crow. Guess what? I don't foresee that happening in any way, shape, or form. They could win one of those games. They're at home. It's the big house. You're probably losing one. You got 2 preseason top 5 odds national championship teams. How many teams in the country can go 2-0 against 2 teams like that? Georgia, Ohio State could. I tell you, Oregon's got Ohio State on their schedule. If they also had Texas, I don't think their win total would be 10.5. I think it would be 9.5. So that's what Michigan's win total is, by the way. It's 9.5. But when I can bookmark at least 2 losses to make the playoff, Michigan then has to play perfect the rest of the way. A 3-loss Big Ten team is not getting in. I don't think a 3-loss any team is getting in, nor do I think it should, because it goes against the very fabric of college football. That is, of course, the regular season, the greatest thing in sports outside of March Madness. So when you factor in that I'm penciling in, I'm not even penciling, I'm writing in Sharpie between USC, Oregon, and Texas. I'll throw USC in there because I like them. Michigan could lose all 3 of those games. That seems unlikely because they're at home. And I've seen Sharon Moore coach on game days before. He knows what he is doing. He's got a new quarterback. He's got a mostly, not entirely, but mostly reworked offensive line, which I expect to be good, but can't possibly be as good as last year. Few questions at receiver, none at running back. Donovan Edwards is a beast. They're going to have maybe the best defensive line in the Big Ten, perhaps one of the best in all of college football, certainly one of the 5-10 best. There's a high floor, but is the ceiling anywhere close to last year? No. It is not. And yeah, you have those 3 games at home. Maybe that's why Michigan's win total is higher than I think it should be at 9.5. But do you think Michigan is going perfect in those games? I know winning at the big house is tough. I know the crowd's going to be rocking. They're going to see USC and Oregon coming in there going, hey, we got new opponents, new fan bases. This is going to be exciting, and it's going to be a rowdy environment as always off a national championship season. What's the new era going to be? There's plenty of excitement with the schedule. There are plenty of big games on this schedule. Michigan's not winning all of them. So to be favored to go to the playoff, I think there's absolute value if you're into the gambling side of things on betting them to miss the playoff. Because between those 3 home games, they're going to lose at least one, and they're losing to Ohio State. And here's the other thing you have to factor in. Let's say they get a win. Let's say they beat Texas week 2. They lose to USC, they beat Oregon, and they win at Ohio State. You've got 2 Big Ten losses, and you can't guarantee that puts you in the conference championship game. Is that scheduled? It probably is. It's a win against Texas, a win against Oregon. Those would be big marquee wins. But what if you've got 3 11-1 SEC teams and there was a tiebreaker and one gets left? Well, okay, so the 11-2 loser and then the champion 12-1 and then the other 11-1 or 10-2 SEC maybe that they're going to get in. The spots start to dwindle, especially when you incorporate Notre Dame into the mix. Do you know what the highest preseason win total in all of college football is? It's 10.5. You know who has it? Notre Dame. Texas has got it. Georgia's got it. Oregon's got it. Ohio State's got it. That's it. All of those teams are not going over 10.5. That's not how this game works. But all of those teams are probably winning at least 10 games. And they're going to compete. If Michigan's not winning the Big Ten this year, and I don't think they are, you're looking for one of those at-large spots. And it sounds in a 12-team playoff like, well, there's so many spots available. They're going to make it. They're going to do it. They start to dwindle really quick. 12 spots, 4 auto bids. Now we're down to 8. Big Ten SEC championship game losers, almost certainly in. Now we're down to 6. Group of 5. Now we're down to 5. What if Notre Dame gets in? If they beat Texas A&M week 1 on the road, really good chance Notre Dame is in the playoff. Suddenly we're down to 4. Michigan's not the only team that would be able to build an at-large caliber resume. So who they beat, who they lose to could absolutely matter. I just find it to be crazy with that schedule where I see 2 losses as a bare minimum. I think they're somewhere between 8-4 and 10-2. They're somewhere in that range. So for me, 2 out of their 3 most likely outcomes are not making the playoff. 10-2 probably gets you in. Probably. As long as you beat the right teams and those teams have the season that they're capable of, you probably get in. But favored to make the playoff? That seems like it's true. Does Vegas know something that I don't know? They absolutely could. They absolutely could. We're going to learn a lot about Michigan in that week 2 game against Texas.